Welcome everybody to the seasonal diet, eating what our ancestors ate when they ate it like we were evolved to do. Today we are speaking about cheese. I've done previous videos on this and its history, but today we are speaking purely about the top season for cheese and why. Because we are coming right into this season right now during the spring, and it really is in top season until the late fall. But first of all, cheese is absolutely in season year-round. Ever since humans kept domesticated cattle, or also sheep or goats, or pretty much any animal that wouldn't kick you in the head and run away if you tried to milk it, ever since humans have been able to do this with their livestock, which is more than 10,000 years ago, humans would have had access to making cheese. Even though the earliest evidence of actually making cheese comes from a little more than 7,000 years ago. But the very cool thing about cheese is that it is one of the foods that has the longest shelf life out of all the animal products. If it's in its most primitive form, like the big blocks or wheels of cheese that you see, and it's stored in a cool, dry place, the shelf life can be up to 6 months, and this is after it's been aged, and that aging process can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So that's if we use the most primitive technology that humans had access to for the longest time. So it really is a food that can be eaten at all times of year, even by our most ancient ancestors. But it especially made for a perfect winter food when not much other food was growing around. That's at least if you live in a place with seasons. But why is cheese traditionally, in all these places in the world, considered to be a food that is in top season from the spring until the fall? Well, it's for a pretty simple reason. Cows, goats, and sheep, they tend to produce less or sometimes even no milk during the winter months. And even if they do produce milk, it's not the best quality to make cheese out of, because they are being fed, the dried hay type of things, the grain type of foods, and it comes out in the flavor of the cheese, and it's not the best. So two things happen in the early spring that makes this better. The first one is the livestock is turned out of their stables and they have a diet of fresh grass, flowers, herbs, and clovers, that kind of thing, and that absolutely comes out in the quality and the volume of the milk that is used to make the cheese. Second thing that happens in the spring is that many of the cattle will be giving birth around this time, and the milk they produce after this is much more nutrient dense and higher quality. So the milk we take at this time in the spring for cheese making is the best. And then of course we mix it with whatever other ingredients and things in the tradition, and you let the cheese age for a couple months at least, and there you go. It brings us to the late spring where the first new batch is ready for eating, and a steady, good supply of it would have been had all throughout the summer and into the fall. But again, cheese is in season and part of our ancestors' diet year-round, but especially now beginning in the spring when our ancestors would have needed it most, as not much else has been growing yet. Let us all know, do you guys have any special recipes? There are thousands of ways to make cheese. Do you have any favorites? Things you like to do? Certain recipes for certain times of year that you know about? Let us all know.